This is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television, while tributes to departed Britain's Queen Elizabeth II continue raining from across Africa and the globe at large. Some Africans are talking of their sufferings under British rule, pointing out to the fact that much of the colonization was done in the name of the royal family. And in news in the Republic of Cameroon, as the 2022-2023 academic year unfolds, several schools are still being invaded or are still invaded by grass. Some have been transformed into farmlands in the southwest and northwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. We're going to show you a case in point in this newscast in the Tico subdivision, southwest region of Cameroon. Stay with us. We begin this news out of the Republic of Cameroon as tributes continue raining on the departed Queen of the United Kingdom, Elizabeth II, after she died at the age of 96 yesterday. World leaders have continued sending tributes from across the globe. Details in this report with Euronews.
Government buildings flew the US flag at half-mast as leaders around the world paid tribute to Queen Elizabeth II, who died on Thursday, aged 96. In a statement, President Joe Biden said the British monarch had defined an era, and in a telegram, Pope Francis said he was deeply saddened as he offered his heartfelt condolences to members of the royal family. The European Union also lowered flags in honour of Elizabeth, who reigned for 70 years and was respected around the globe.
It's with deep sadness that I have heard the news of the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth was a woman who shaped a century in the United Kingdom and beyond worldwide. She experienced contemporary history and wrote contemporary history. Her Majesty was held in the highest esteem and respect throughout the world.
Tributes also came from other monarchs around the world, including Spain's King Felipe.
Queen Elizabeth will be remembered as one of the greatest queens of all time for her dignity, sense of duty, courage and devotion to her people.
Maladie ou par handicap. Regard social. Le projet compte aujourd'hui plusieurs cas solutionnés qui d'ailleurs essayent de s'insérer dans la société. Une fois encore, bonsoir et bienvenue à l'émission.
And the world. From all Ukrainians, I express sincere condolences to the royal family, the whole of the UK and the Commonwealth countries. Our thoughts and prayers are with you.
On Twitter, the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres summed up the feelings of many, saying the Queen was a reassuring presence through decades of change. The UN Security Council held a minute's silence in homage to the best-known monarch in the world.
And condolences, tributes have continued to stream in from the globe, from across the world, and of course Africa. Cameroon's President Paul Biya has also sent condolences. In his message, he says that the death of the Queen of England, Elizabeth II, is painful and affects the Commonwealth of nations. He indicates that the Queen had a unique statue and played an emblematic role throughout history. And we also have reactions from President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, from the President of Gabon, the President of Ghana, and other African presidents who have been sending in tributes. Now let's get to know more about the journey of Queen Elizabeth II. Who was she and how did she move up to that position? What she has been doing for the past 70 years. She has been reigning in the United Kingdom. Catch Euronews.
Well, yeah, I'm concerned too. Obviously, the language in that statement that Maggie was reading is worrying, because the doctors don't normally get involved in terms of how the level of the medical treatment. But saying that they are concerned is worrying, because normally the palace would say that the Queen was simply resting, or she was cancelling engagements along those lines. The fact I'm hearing that members of the royal family, such as the Prince of Wales, who was at Dumfries House, also in Scotland yesterday, has
my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family.
Queen Elizabeth II has ruled longer than any other British monarch. Amidst astonishing change and challenges, she remained constant and resilient. She became Queen of the United Kingdom in 1952. She was never destined to rule, but when her uncle gave up the throne in 1936, her life was changed forever. She was crowned, aged just 27, the start of a lifetime of public service.
I shall dedicate myself anew to your service. But I want to ask you all to pray that God may give me wisdom and strength, and that I may faithfully serve him and you all the days of my life.
And that is what she did. As head of the Commonwealth, she went on countless trips around the world. Praised as a figure of stability and known for her strong sense of duty, during her reign she met more presidents and leaders than any other head of state. With little executive power, she mastered the art of quiet diplomacy. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. In 1992, 3 of her children, Prince Andrew, Princess Anne and Prince Charles, separated from their spouses. What had started as promising fairy tales became a feast for the tabloids. The family's reputation was at its lowest level in a generation. This wasn't the only damage. A fire destroyed part of Windsor Castle, and the British taxpayers were reluctant to pay the bill. In the words of the Queen, 1992 is not a year on which I shall look back with undiluted pleasure. It has turned out to be an annus horribilis. The death of Princess Diana in a car crash in Paris changed the public view of the monarchy. The shock and public grief were immense. The Queen maintained her characteristic reserve and stayed initially at Balmoral, a decision that left the royal family out of touch with public opinion. But a speedy return to London ensured the Queen remained in the hearts of her public. The monarchy recovered from this turmoil. Royal popularity reached new heights thanks to the Queen's grandsons. Prince William and Prince Harry married commoners, modernised the monarchy, and produced a new generation to capture the admiration of the public. But then in 2020, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle left the royal family, complaining about the British tabloids' treatment of Meghan. They cited bullying and racist attitudes towards the Duchess. The one who stood next to the Queen through all the ups and downs of royal life was Prince Philip. At the time of his death, they had been married for 73 years. She said that he had always been her strength. Queen Elizabeth II was strong, reliable and committed, and the people loved her for it. The nation got an opportunity to express its gratitude in the Platinum Jubilee, which marked 70 years of Elizabeth's reign. The 4 days of celebration and pageantry brought welcome relief in troubled economic and political times. Due to fatigue, the Queen was unable to attend all events, but she did appear on the famous palace balcony to engage once again with her subjects. An enduring image of a much-loved monarch.
And the Prince of Wales is now the new king of the United Kingdom after records as the longest-serving heir apparent to the throne. He became king immediately after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Now, who is the new king of the UK? That's yours.
Invested as the Prince of Wales in 1969 at the age of 20, Charles would have to wait longer than any predecessor for the monarch's crown to be placed on his head. A date for the coronation hasn't yet been set, but it's a moment he's been preparing for all his life. His apprenticeship began at an early age, with his mother's stately responsibilities overshadowing his childhood. Dispatched to elite schools as a young boy, Charles was the first heir not to be educated at home. The young prince completed his secondary education at Gordonstown in Scotland, the same school his father went to. It had a reputation for character building, and he was reportedly unhappy during his time there. After becoming the first British royal to gain a degree, which he was awarded by Cambridge University in 1970, Charles became a Royal Navy officer and found it increasingly difficult to avoid public scrutiny. And then his public profile rocketed when he married the younger Lady Diana Spencer in 1981. The wedding was at St Paul's Cathedral and was televised around the globe. Prince William, now heir to the throne, was born less than a year later, followed by his brother Prince Harry in 1984. At first it all seemed a little fairy tale, but it wouldn't be a happy ending. Tensions in the marriage led to divorce in 1996, and the following year, Diana, by now the People's Princess, died in a Paris car crash. That left Charles a single father and William and Harry without their beloved mother. It took years for many people to forgive him for infidelity to Diana before the accident, but eventually the mood softened enough for him to marry Camilla Parker Bowles in 2005, and she became the Duchess of Cornwall. While Charles has indulged in traditional royal pastimes, there is another side to him that he's never hidden. He's shown an interest and spoken out, sometimes to criticism, on many issues, especially on matters related to agriculture, the environment and architecture. His mother was admired for her diplomacy and public neutrality. Now he's Charles III and he's in the driving seat. He may have to take on board some of her characteristics.
King Charles, the man who's been preparing for over half a century to become the king of the United Kingdom. Now, back here in the Republic of Cameroon, 30 Central African refugees have voluntarily gone back home. They left through the Douala International Airport earlier today. Some of them are going back home after over 10 years in the Republic of Cameroon, and the United Nations Refugee Agency says that the situation in their home country is conducive enough for them to go back and be safe. Details in this report compiled by Innocent.
There are 30 Central African Republic refugees from Yaoundé who are returning home via the Douala International Airport in the company of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees.
They decided voluntarily to return home. They register to our office to return. We share with them information for the situation in their country, and they decided to go home.
Some of them explained why they decided to evacuate Cameroon for their home country many years after. I want to contribute in the development of my country because it needs youth like me. I believe the government will help us in that light. As a true citizen of Central African Republic, I need to return home. I feel bad leaving Cameroon, a friendly and hospitable country, but blood is thicker than water. I have to leave, but thanks to all those who supported me in different ways here in Cameroon. I shall visit Cameroon next time, certainly not as a refugee. This is because Cameroon is a welcoming, peaceful and nice place to be. Some of these voluntarily repatriated refugees will be arriving their country as strangers. First will be needing the help of their leaders. Some of us have spent 8 years, 9 years and even 10 years here in Cameroon. Such persons will be arriving in Central African Republic as strangers and will greatly need government support. According to the UN Refugee Agency, they allowed them return home due to the improved security situation following the peace deal signed in 2019 between the government and 14 armed groups. Greater improvement was recorded in 2021. Since the succession crisis in CAR in 2013, hundreds of thousands of persons were displaced in and out of the country, including 346,784 in Cameroon. Figures presented by the Refugee Agency indicate that a total of about 7,000 refugees have already returned voluntarily since 2019 by air and land transport. The number would have been greater if not of the COVID-19 and the resurgence of violence following the December 2020 presidential election, which caused a pause in the facilitation of voluntary repatriation.
The United Nations Refugee Agency Protection Associate Marion Le Guen says that the situation back home is stable and favorable enough for them to go back and for their security and safety to be guaranteed. And she said that measures have been taken to receive the refugees in the CRA camp Bangui. Take a listen to her. She spoke to Innocent.
Coordinated with our colleagues in UNHCR in Central African Republic, and they will be at the airport in Bangui to receive them with some family members of the refugees who are traveling today. They are going home to restart their life, and for the children to go back to school, and for them to find job and continue their life in their home country. Yeah, security is okay. We, as I said, we always share information with them before they leave, and we are in contact with our colleague UNHCR in Bangui, so they share information with us, and it's only when the situation is safe that we can support them to go back home.
The CAR, Central African Republic, has been in turbulence for quite a long time now, and this is what pushed the citizens out of the country to seek refuge in neighboring Cameroon, and many of them are still living in Cameroon, particularly in the east region of the country, some of them in very difficult conditions, while the Cameroonian authorities and host communities battle or strive to help them to live peacefully in the Republic of Cameroon. Now, to the southwest region of the country, several schools are still closed and have been closed for over 6 years today as a result of the prevailing insecurity in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Several interior parts of the two regions have been badly affected by the crisis, and education has not been going on in many educational institutions. And we're going to show you an example in this newscast in the Tico subdivision, where a traditional ruler is now striving to see that education activities resume in a particular school in that area. The school had been transformed into a farmland. Smanjik and Gabriel reports.
A cassava farm being brought down by inhabitants of New Layout Ombe under Bunganjo village in Tico subdivision, southwest region of Cameroon. This piece of land is among several others belonging to government nursery and primary school New Layout Ombe that has been leased out to people, making it difficult for the effective takeoff of classes this academic year. According to the chief of Bunganjo village, the headmaster of this school is to be blamed for the leased land and delaying the school year for the pupils. After several attempts to meet with the head teacher failed, I had to inform the police, who served him with a summon letter before he came. Even when he came, he went and held meeting with other people. All of his interests is to lease out the school land. The head teacher of the nursery and primary school, who was accused for leasing lands, rather had a different attitude towards the accusation.
For the start of the new academic year 2022-2023, we met with parents to tidy up our school compounds in preparation for smooth classes to begin. In fact, we have told many parents this is a school with a special situation because it is isolated, and for some time now parents have been scared to be with us. But this year, all the parents have come together. We have braved the odds that everything be what we are going to do it.
The nursery school, that is made up of makeshift construction materials, still needs some renovation works to be done on it, while the primary section has worn out ceiling boards and more work to be done for an effective takeoff. It's the desire of all the daughters and sons of Bunganju for the school to start. It's just threats from unknown persons in the village that is making the school not to start. Bunganjo has the best vigilante group, and I'm surprised why the school can't take off.
Bunganjo is one of the best vigilante group inside Fako.
For an effective takeoff of the nursery and primary school of New Layout Ombe in Bunganjo, the chief has promised to renovate the nursery section and pay PTA levies for those who will send their kids to school. Just like Bunganjo, many other schools in the southwest and northwest regions have been abandoned, with some transformed into farmlands.
And our efforts to get a reaction to these from the headmaster of that primary school were all fruitless. We will bring to you the reaction of the headmaster in our subsequent news editions. Now we're going to talk something else, notably about the situation that is prevailing in the southwest and northwest regions of the country, and with the regional institutions that have been put in place to find solutions to the crisis that's been pulling on for close to 6 years today. And additional energy has been added to the Southwest Regional Administration. The Secretary General has been installed into his functions and is expected to bring in his own input in the efforts of the administration to restore peace and normalcy across that administrative unit, the Southwest region. Details with Derek Jato.
That I officially declare you installed
Bakoma Elango Zakios,
of the Southwest
President of the Southwest Regional Assembly, installed His Royal Majesty Chief Mukete Joseph Nebale as the new Secretary General of the Southwest Regional Assembly.
Whatever happens in the Regional Assembly is centered around the Secretary General. So the challenges ahead of him are very enormous. He has to coordinate all the services of the Regional Assembly under the supervision of the President. And I think that the Secretary General, with the experience that he already has in public administration, I'm very convinced.
The pioneer Secretary General, on his part, is aware of what awaits him, as he will be expected to set the pace for a better regional assembly as a decentralized local authority.
The task is huge, and with the rich experience I already have in the field of decentralization, I think I'm up to the task. I'm doing my best to save my region.
The Cameroon government was represented by the Secretary General at the Southwest Governor's Office, who assured the new Secretary General of the Southwest Regional Assembly of good collaboration between his office and the government.
And hundreds of houses to be demolished in the Tico, notably around the Tico airport. The houses are said to have been constructed on the airport land, and with the imminent rehabilitation of that air transport amenity, the houses will be demolished. And the governor of the Southwest region has put in place a committee that's already carrying out some work on the ground as far as the rehabilitation of the Tico airport is concerned. Once more, Derek Jatov has indeed somewhere.
This is what is left of a once international airport of Tico in the Southwest region. The runway has been reduced into a walkway of persons going to their farms, and the runway safety area is transformed into buildings and farmland. Cameroon President Paul Biya is not comfortable with this situation and recently ordered for the Tico airport to be rehabilitated. Da Costa Wilson of Betang Energy has been given the job.
The current airport in Tico, in terms of classification, is what you call a D airport. So we want to take it to a C airport. So taking it to a C airport, the current runway where we are standing is about 1,300 meters. We need to take it to about 2,300 meters. That's going to enable a Boeing 737 and Airbus A320, those type of aircraft to be able to land in Tico. It's a project that envisioned 24 months. If not for all the encroachments, I'll tell you, I'm starting tomorrow. I'm ready to go.
And that is the reason the governor of the Southwest region, Benato Kaliabilai, descended to the site. Firstly, to commission the committee in charge of handling encroachment, and secondly, to visit the Tico airport and see for himself what the airport has become.
The assignment of the commission is to evaluate the situation of the field, to see the encroachments, people who have encroached, and the number of persons who should be displaced. It is a very long assignment. Some people encroach in the airport.
Chief Mesoso Peter, Mayor of Tico Council, told his population that the time for celebration has come, though there will be some bittersweet moments.
My message to the population is that we have to cooperate. Nothing good comes easy. After the little demolition and other things that will be done, when the airport comes, we'll enjoy, because some of our sons and daughters will have job opportunity in the same airport.
Talking on behalf of traditional rulers of Tico subdivision, Chimtike Richard begged the government that those who will be displaced for encroaching on the airport land should be reallocated as well.
Knows what we are going through at this time. I think that we suggest strongly to the Commission that there should be a resettlement area for the displaced people who live this area.
Hundreds of houses here will be demolished. Reports say even this Tico Council too will not also be left out, and that will take place very soon.
A stock of expired drugs seized by custom and gendarme officers in Betua East region of the Republic of Cameroon. The drugs were destroyed. Lucy Liengo reports.
Are expired medications which have been seized by the elements of the National Gendarmerie and custom officers in the East region of Cameroon. The products found in a truck cost about 135 million francs. It has to do with different kinds of medications like antibiotics, anti-inflammatory drugs. But it is important to know that these medications gathered 80% constituted of antibiotics. The illicit medications were burnt in the presence of the Secretary General at the Governor's office at Kumebonis. We congratulate the elements of the National Gendarmerie and custom officers who worked together to seize this product, respecting what the Governor had authorized them to do. These expired products, according to medics, has an adverse effect to health. We do not know how these medications were conserved because they were being transported illegally. We cannot accept our population to consume products that have reached their expiring date. This can affect their health. The Regional Commission for the Fight Against Illicit Medications, in the presence of the Governor of the East, call on the population to denounce this illegal activity. The population is called to collaborate so as to denounce such acts, to also enable the specialized service to carry out their activity. Medics advise the population to pay attention to expiry dates written on medications before consumption.
and the Cameroonian Armed Forces reinforced to carry on its mission of protecting the territorial integrity of Cameroon and, of course, the people and their properties in the north region of the Republic of Cameroon. A specialized military unit has been constructed in Gaoundéré, more precisely in the locality of Chabat, and the center was recently visited by the Army Chief of Staff General Claude René Meka. He was accompanied by General Robinson Aga, and we have details in this report with Anna Gila.
Boko Haram attacks in the northern regions, the Anglophone crisis in the northwest and southwest regions, attacks in the east by the Seleka rebels from the Central African Republic, among other security threats, are some of the problems faced by the entire country, Cameroon. Reason: top military officers paid a visit to the newly constructed Army Instruction Center in Gaoundéré. The new military camp in Chabal is where specialized military officers will hence receive training and be deployed across the country for special assignments when need arises. General René Claude Meka, the Army Chief of Staff, was welcomed at the base in Chabal by Colonel Bengono Antoine Kizito. Also in the presence of General Aga Robinson, the colonel presents the new logistics consisting of houses, offices, training grounds, among others, put in place for the intensive training of the specialized forces.
Nous avons une autonomie en eau, un forage, on supplée l'énergie électrique par un groupe électrogène qui alimente tout le camp en cas de coup.
While boosting the morale of his collaborators, the Army Chief of Staff, General René Claude Meka, assured the military officers of state support and reminds them to put the country first, fight for motherland, even if it means paying the ultimate price.
The army is strengthening its capacity to fight enemies of the Republic, notably a foreign invasion, and of course to protect the territorial integrity of the Republic of Cameroon. And this is where we end this weekend edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television. Coming up next, live from Cameroon's political capital Yaoundé, Equinoxe Soir, with Seizure. Do stay with us and have a nice weekend in the company of our programs.